Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome. I almost said my other channel name, but Antoine back here with another video, and today we got a lot to talk about. I'm getting ready to set up some more things. We got to talk about this camera, as you can see in the title probably, and we got to talk about my hair. No, I didn't cut it. I just got it braided. And speaking of my hair, I don't know how well you can see that, but my hair, like not one but two gray hairs right up front. So I don't appreciate that. I didn't ask for all that. But anyway, first thing, we got some stuff to unbox. Okay, I just realized I don't have a knife. I gotta fix that. I'm a camera YouTuber now. I gotta have a knife. So anybody, questions, comments, concerns, threats, anybody got a recommendation for a knife, let me know so I can pick that up. In the meantime, I guess I'll use my keys like the uncultured swine that I am. Hold on. Oh, that opened easy enough. So I can show you what I got. Ta-da! They are acoustic panels, yes. And so we are getting ready to do some sound treatment in this room. They had a deal like on Amazon, so I got a set of black ones and a set of white ones, as well as the like kind of like the sticky command strips to put them up. So I'm gonna put them all on this wall probably, and you know, so we can work on improving the sound in here. But that's not the main event of what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about one of the first cameras I owned. This is the Canon T6i, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because I hope to sell this soon. So just like I did on my other channel back in the day with my T5i, I thought I would give this a proper send-off and review it and see if it's any good in 2021. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So the Canon T6i, well, I got this camera at the beginning of 2020, and this was an important camera in my development because it really spurred on a lot of my initial push on my other channel. I don't know if I told you guys, like on my other channel, I did really well last year. I was able to get my first 1,000 to get monetized and yada yada yada, and a lot of it is because of this camera. I used it for pretty much the first half of the year last year, so all of my videos from there, I can maybe throw up some footage here. It's still, like, image quality wise, the 1080p on this is really good and still comparable to most channels that you see out there, which is a good thing. This is an interesting place. This is in an interesting place, I should say, because as far as what Canon is doing now with their Rebels and like a lot of their cameras in the late 2010s, I would say that this is the first of the new cameras and the last of the old cameras. And so a couple of things what I mean by that. This is of course in their Rebel line, starting with the T2i. They gave us full 1080p and 24 and 30 frames a second, and that was revolutionary at the time because that was a camera that could give us some really good image quality at a relatively affordable cost. So a lot of filmmakers who are big now, especially on the YouTube space, they got their start back with the old school T2 and T3i. This was the first of the Rebels to upgrade their sensors. So up until the T6i, they were using like an 18 megapixel sensor. This is the first to bring in their 24.2 megapixel sensor that you see in other cameras like the SL2 and 3, the 80D, 77D, even M50 to a degree, things like that. And so we really did get a nice kind of boost in image quality when it came to this camera, but that's pretty much where it stops with the video specs. Other video specs, like I said, it shoots 1080p up to 30 frames a second, which is nice, but unfortunately it only does 60 frames a second in 720p. So like the Rebels before it, you still got that standard HD slow-mo when it comes to this camera. But like I said, still got things like the flip out screen, which at the time, like, I mean, even the fact that Canon was putting the flip out screen in their Rebels, like, that was fantastic because everybody wants the flip out screen. So so you got the flip out screen there. It feels nice in the hand. The grip is still pretty nice. Not weather sealed or anything like that, but it's still a tough, durable camera. I've taken this camera out in the snow many a time, and I haven't really had an issue. So
okay, so one thing I should mention is that there is no weather sealing on this lens or this camera. So you probably shouldn't be out in the rain with it like this, or you just might play yourself. That being said, I have shot in the snow. It was a pretty light snow, but I've done it twice, and I was okay. But out here, nah, I don't think I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go.
That's the quick overview on the photography side. Like I said, 24 megapixel sensor, you got 19 focus points, all cross type, and it shoots, I believe, 6 frames a second, which is actually pretty good, just for catching your kids in the backyard, or maybe catching like a children's sporting event, things like that. But I mean, if you are doing like pro sporting events, you'll probably miss more often than not. That being said, this has hybrid autofocus 3, which is like Canon's best autofocus, like right before they start putting dual pixel autofocus in here. So like I said, you get a fast lens, with the STM, with the stepper motor in it, and it's pretty fast. It's fast enough to trust probably 85 to 90% of the time while you're shooting video. If you let it lock on your face, and it'll pretty much stay there in the face tracking mode, and you're pretty much good to go on that. But okay, so that's enough of just giving the rundown and doing the specs. Let's go ahead and take this outside. I'll do a little vlogging with it. I gotta hurry up because I gotta be at work in like an hour, but like I said, I got an hour to film, so let's take this outside and get some shots and see what the footage looks like. Here we go. So quick autofocus test with the T6i, and like I said, looking at the image is still pretty crispy, and the lens I've got on here is the 28 to 135, so it's a little zoomed in on the wide side, but if you get a wide enough stick like I'm using right now, you can still get a pretty wide frame. 3.5 at its widest setting, which isn't the fastest, but as you can see, especially when I'm outside, you definitely get enough shallow depth of field. And like I said, overall, I'm still impressed with this image from a camera that's over 5 years old. And of course, when it was released 5 years ago, it was released as an entry-level camera, so you got to keep that in mind. Got my ND filter on here, so we should be good to go with that exposure. But anyway, just testing the vlog. Like I said, vlog test. The lens itself has image stabilization. The T6i itself doesn't have any kind of IBIS or even digital stabilization, but as long as you have a lens with IS in it, it's not bad. And like I said, I'm walking in the ground here, so the terrain is not the most even, you'll see, but even still, I think it looks pretty okay, all things considered. So okay, so just sitting down for talking head stuff like this. Again, the autofocus uses Canon's hybrid autofocus version 3. So this is basically what they were putting in their cameras right before they introduced dual pixel autofocus. So it's the fastest Canon autofocus outside dual pixel autofocus. What that means is it's reliable, I would say probably like 80 to 85% of the time. When I'm doing talking head videos like this, and all the talking head videos I did on my other YouTube channel with the T6i and an STM lens, I could trust it for the most part. I mean, I could move in, sorry I'm moving into the sun, but I can move in and it should be tracking me. I see the box now. Again, you can trust about 80% of the time, so just because you see the box, and you will see it all the time, doesn't mean it's always focused. But if you're in a well-lit place, then you usually won't have an issue with that. I noticed that the autofocus really starts to drop off in low light situations, which is not a huge surprise, but like I said, in scenarios like this, you can definitely get something that works. Okay, so one of the disadvantages that I mentioned in terms of the video was its slow-mo capabilities. Now, this is the last Rebel to put in 720, 60 frames a second in their camera. So the T7i and every Rebel camera that came out after this one has 60 frames at full HD, which is nice. And so, like I said, that's definitely a downside with this. They were definitely putting that in cameras at the time, so I don't know why they just decided to nerf this. But Canon is known for their cripple hammer antics. But like I said, let's do a little quick B-roll around here and see what the 720 looks like. So if you're looking for a camera with high dynamic range, this is not going to be the camera for you. Canon is known for their lack thereof of dynamic range. So you can see here in this shot, sky is totally blown out. It's about 10 o'clock, so the sun is rising from behind me, and I'm standing in the shade. So like I said, this is not the best at dynamic range, and it's definitely toward the bottom of the barrel, but luckily Canon's colors in general are pretty nice overall. So if you know how to tweak it, you can still get some nice looking images out of your Canon camera, so that's not the end of the world. Lack of dynamic range just means you got to be more choosy about where you decide to film at. So like I said, I'm in the shade. I shoot against shaded backgrounds and it looks pretty good. So just as long as I stay away from blown out backgrounds like that, I'm fine. Like here's another example. Shoot up against these walls, blown out backgrounds. I shoot up here against the trees and I got a nice image. Oh, I didn't realize I'm back in my apartment. What's up, fellas? What's up, sir? How can I help you? Kona. So, it's okay, they're my cats. But anyway, I'm gonna climb back inside because it's already super hot out here. Yes, boys, I'm coming. I'll see you in a second. So, yeah, let's finish this inside. Okay, we are back. It was starting to get a little hot out there. Before we wrap it up, let's talk about the photo experience again one more time. So in this camera, you're getting 19 autofocus points, all cross type. That's a step up from the 9 that we got in the T6i. You're getting 6 frames a second, which again is definitely fast enough for your everyday type of photography. If you're doing portrait work, if you're doing just kind of casual catching your pets or your family at family outings and things like that. The images that come out of this camera are still really nice. Again, this camera upgraded to that 24 megapixel sensor, so that's definitely plenty if you want to do a little bit of cropping. The photos are nice and sharp and detailed. Shoots like 12-bit RAW in photos, and so that's going to give you plenty of latitude to push and pull colors. And paired with this lens and some of the others I like to use the 24mm pancake, the 2.8, as well as the nifty 50, of course. And with those, you know, two lenses compared with this one, like, you get some really good shots. I've shot everything from newborn photography with this to portraits and landscapes and everything in between. So I mean, the photo experience with this camera is still really solid despite its age, and it's more than enough to, you know, get started. It's definitely enough. I did plenty of paid work with just this T6i, so it's definitely enough in the photo department to get you going with that, which is nice. So is this camera worth it in 2021? Honestly, I would think so. There are more capable cameras on the market that are around this price range. The G7 from Panasonic or the M50 come to mind, but if you happen to see this in a pawn shop for $300 or $400, and this is definitely enough to get you started. The video image still really holds up with the 1080p. The photo experience is also still very nice with this camera. The autofocus is fast enough to handle most things that you'll be doing, and overall I would say grab this camera if you find it for cheap. Okay, I do believe that's all I got for you guys, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. What do you guys think about the Canon T6i? Have you ever used a T6i? Let me know your thoughts, and as always, we can bounce ideas off of each other. If you like this content, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. I'm out, and until next time.